So for YouTube, this video is just my own ideas, theories and philosophies, just for entertainment purposes only. So let me start by asking you this. Can the law force you to do something? Is there a law that says you must do this, or you must pay this money? Can there be such a law? And if you think about it, there can't, because if there is a law that says you must do this against your will, then that makes you a slave. A slave has to do work against their will, or has to pay money against their will, because they have to go and do the work to earn the money and then pay the money. Same thing. So can there be a law that makes you a slave? No, of course not. Now, the law is actually very simple. Real law is extremely simple. And all of us would agree. The real law can only be what you are not allowed to do. You can do anything you like, you're free, but there's certain things you're not supposed to do. For example, do not harm. Don't hurt anyone. Don't attack. And everyone would agree, okay, yeah, that's the law. We're not supposed to hurt each other. All right, we all agree. Simple. So now if you attack, you harm someone, yes, you have broken the law. But there's a second one. We think, okay, do not steal. Don't steal anything. Everyone would agree, yes, we're not allowed to steal. Why? Because that's still harm. If you're stealing someone's property, you're taking their energy, their hard work. They might have created it, or they might have earned, paid the money, bought it, they've earned it. You take it away, you're stealing their energy. That's harming them. And it's still just the same one. And we'd all agree, yes, okay, stealing, that is against the law. So you can't do that. And there's only one more really. The last one would be cheating, committing fraud. You're not allowed to lie, break your promise. If you promise something, and we all accept the promise, you break it, well, now you've cheated. Or if you manipulate or deceive in order to steal, so you're not directly stealing, I take it from you, but you manipulate and trick the other person into giving it to you. Manipulation and deceit in order to steal, that is fraud. Okay, that's against the law. We're not allowed to do that. And everyone would agree. Yeah, okay, we all agree. Now that's about it, because even fraud goes to theft, which goes to harm. It's all just harm. We're not allowed to harm each other. Now, of course, we've got all other laws. People make up a lot of stuff, and we've got religious law. But all these other additional laws, they're unclear. We can have a discussion. Some people agree, some people disagree. The real law, natural law, universal law, everyone must agree, and that's it. And I would say it's just these three things, because everyone will agree. The other ones, some people, don't agree. Now that can't be a law. Like religious law, you've got different religious law. It's quite arbitrary. These ones are not arbitrary. These connect to your conscience. We feel them. We know when we have broken the natural law. I know when I have tricked you and stolen your stuff. I know, I feel it in the conscience. So that is it. That is all is law. You've got to check, have I harmed someone? Have I stolen something? Or have I cheated? So now let's go back to the first question, because we're living in a world where the state will demand money from us. Every year we have to pay money. And we're forced to. They say it's the law. If you don't pay the money, you go to prison. But we've just said that. There can be no law that forces you to pay money. Cannot be the law. So what are they doing? Well, we need to go one step further. One step further. In the law, real law, it's about the interaction between real living men and women. We're interacting, we're doing things. Now, if we all understood it and all followed it, that's it, we just get along. But we've got, some people don't follow, we have misunderstandings. So we need something called evidence. We need some evidence. For example, if two of us agree to work on a project, we're going to start a business, two people, and we make an agreement saying, I will do this part of the business and you will do that part of the business. We have an agreement. So now we need evidence of that agreement. We both sign a piece of paper saying, yes, I will do this, and yes, you will do that. We both sign it. So now when we start the business, we have evidence saying of this agreement. So if one of us doesn't, if I do not fulfill my side of the agreement, the other person can say, look, you promised, you broke your promise. Now you are breaking the law. You see, essentially you've committed fraud. You wrote your name and promised to do it. Now you're not doing it. You've broken the contract. But without that piece of paper, there's no evidence. It'd just be between the two of you. You'd go to them and say, you promised to do that side. They could say, no, I didn't. And you say, well, you told me. I don't remember telling you. So you need a piece of paper. And really, it's evidence. And listen carefully. There is only one evidence required in law. Only one thing. That's it. All this complicated law, no. One thing. That is your signature. And it's really your autograph. But let's just call it signature. That's it. Nothing else is required in law. Now, let's go back to the beginning. Firstly, do not harm. We all agree the law is do not harm. Now, in order to prove, if someone has hurt me, I need proof that you have hurt me. But the very first proof I need is that I am someone. I have to be someone that has been hurt. So the very first proof or evidence we need is evidence of myself. This is me. And the evidence of me, myself, is my signature. That's the first evidence we need and the only evidence we need. And when you write your signature, it is evidence of your understanding and agreement. You have to write your name. It's quite complicated. If you can write your complicated signature, that means you've got an understanding. You're quite clever. You are clever enough to understand what is going on, so you will write your signature and agree. So the signature of a living man, really an autograph, a living man or woman, is the most powerful and only evidence in law. Your signature, in order to have evidence of you yourself, that signature must be witnessed. Other people must witness it. So I must write on a piece of paper, I am Toby, and I do this, that and the other, this is me. And then I sign my name. Other people have got to witness that. In order for my signature to have power, someone has got to see me do it. They have watched the movement of my pen on the paper. They saw, yeah, you did it. So they can say, yes, that is your signature. I saw you do it. So they must sign the piece of paper. So for your signature to have power in law, it must be witnessed. So this is the very first evidence we need in law, is a piece of paper saying that I am me, and this is my signature, and all these people witnessed it. They have to put their signature on it. And their signature also must be valid. Their signatures must have been witnessed. Otherwise, their signatures are meaningless. That's all we need. Now, when you have an agreement between two people, a contract you both must sign, but you should have witnesses. But other living men and women witness the two people both signing their name to the contract, and they sign their name on the contract. Now the contract is law. All just signatures. But really, a true contract, now this is it, a true contract is a meeting of living men and women, a spiritual connection. You shouldn't need this paperwork. What it would be, you and I, we're friends. We make a plan. We agree. You do this, I do this. We look each other in the eye and we make a promise. Yeah, and I see, yeah, you making it. You see, yeah, I'm making it. We shake hands. When we shake hands, we feel the energy. Yeah, I believe you. You're going to do it. You believe me. Yeah, we're going to do it. That's it. That's the contract. But one step further, we then both sign with witnesses. Now we've got indisputable permanent evidence. And we won't cheat because we've had spiritual connection. But of course we can cheat. Once you understand this is law, signatures on paper, that is law. Now you've got to look at the world. The world is extremely complicated. All of us are signing things all the time. What are we signing? What are we signing? Look at it like this. The only time you need a signature is in law. It's to do with contract. That's the only reason you need a signature. Any time you sign your name, it's a contract. And we're signing our name all the time. Do we know what we're doing? Every time you sign a name, that is law. But what are we doing? We don't know what we're doing. If we understood this, we would not sign anything. When you sign, that is evidence of your understanding and agreement. What are you doing? Signing all these bits of paper all day long for everything. Signing contracts. So now this is how they do it. Remember, you cannot have a law that says you must pay this money. But you can create a contract, an agreement. You can say, do you agree to work for us? Do you agree to pay us this money? And you sign. You sign the contract to pay that money. Now, if you do not work for us, if you do not pay the money, you have broken the contract. You have broken the law. Now we can step in and say there must be consequences. We can force you to pay that money. We can force you to work, or we can put you in prison because you signed the contract and you broke it. But it's more than that. You've got to think, how many signatures have you given to the state? You've signed your passport. You've signed the electoral roll. You've signed your utility bills. You've signed your property. You've signed your car. Every one of those signatures is law, a contract. But what have you done? And ask yourself this. Here's the thing. What is the state? The so-called government, the authority? What is it? It's meant to be an elected body of people looking after us, keeping an eye on the law. So the state is just supposed to look after us. But why are we signing things? Why does the state keep asking for our signature? Why? A simple question. Ask anyone. Why does the government want our signature? Why does it need that? Surely it shouldn't need it. It's just looking after us, the people. It requires our signature because we must give our agreement that they can look after us. It's a contract. We sign, yes, we agree that you can look after us, you can give us your rules and regulations, and we will follow them, and yes, we will pay you our tax money every year. And if we don't, yes, we agree we will go to prison. We signed the contract. Now, if we break that contract, we have broken the law and we go to prison. We signed it. If we understood what we were doing, we would never sign our name. And think about it now. What are you signing? It's always a contract. There is never a reason for your signature unless it is a contract. But there's one step further than this. Remember, you can have a fraudulent contract. A real contract is an understanding, a meeting of minds. You look each other in the eye, shake hands, and then both sign with witnesses. Every contract you have signed in your life, was it like that? Every time you signed your name for the state, was it like that? No. Did you understand what you were signing? No. So in fact, all of those contracts were really fraudulent because you did not understand. Look at it like this. If I write a contract and secretly hide it in there, you must pay me $1 million or I will take all your stuff. And then I write a long contract and then get you to sign. Then I've got it. Oh, you must pay the money. Then you'll say, hang on, what? No. You could then say, no, that's a fraudulent contract. Look, that's deceitful. He hidden it in there. And in law, yes, you could go to law and say, hang on, this guy tricked me. He created a fraudulent contract. And everyone will agree, yes, that was fraud. That was deceit. That's real law. Everyone would agree, yeah, you created a fake contract and tricked me into signing. That's against the law. Now the thing is, all these contracts we have signed with the state, we do not understand them because they are written in a different language. See, this is a trick. You're not really allowed to do that. For example, would you sign a contract in Chinese and you don't know what it says? Well, you shouldn't. But they've written them in a language that looks like English, sounds like English, so we think we understand it, but it's not English. It's a different language. It's legalese. The whole legal system is based on contract, but it's written in a language that we don't understand. So that is deception. That is manipulation. You're not supposed to do that. Remember, both parties must understand the contract. So not only can you say, please show me the contract, then you say, what language is this contract written in? You see, the contract is in the contract, it is written that you are the debtor. You agree to pay the debts of the state. You've agreed to that. But did you understand that? Did you understand that you have agreed to be the debtor? No. None of us. Ask anyone. Do you realise you're the debtor? You've agreed to pay the debts of the state? No. So none of us understood the contract. That means it's null and void. That is not a real contract. So the question is, who's breaking the law? Are we breaking the law by not fulfilling the contract, or is the state breaking the law by creating a fraudulent contract and tricking us into signing it? So there's a lot to this, but essentially to summarize this, our signature is law. Whenever you're signing or autographing anything, you are creating a contract. Be careful. So I hope this made sense. Please do leave me any questions or comments. Thank you so much for watching, and I look forward to seeing you in any of these other videos here.